to glory.
Charlie Brown, now Charlie Brown.
I can't believe it. She must think I'm the most stupid person alive.
Come on, Charlie Brown. I'll hold the ball and you kick it.
Hold it? Ha! You'll pull it away and I'll land flat on my back and kill myself.
But Charlie Brown, it's Thanksgiving.
What's that got to do with anything?
Well, one of the greatest traditions we have is the Thanksgiving Day football game. And the biggest, most important tradition of all is the kicking off of the football.
Is that right?
Absolutely. Come on, Charlie Brown. It's a big honor for you.
Well, if it's that important, a person should never turn down a big honor. Maybe I should do it. Besides, she wouldn't try to trick me on a traditional holiday. This time I'm gonna kick that football clear to the moon!
Isn't it peculiar, Charlie Brown, how some traditions just slowly fade away?
Good morning and welcome to the Sunday Audible, live from Sunday Audible Studios on this Saturday edition, November the 6th, in the week of number 9 in the NFL. And I thank you guys for joining us today. That's right. It's a beautiful 70-degree Saturday here on the East Coast, the Northeast. And we definitely enjoying some great weather. And we're going to enjoy some great football talk in the next hour and change with my co-hosts, Jeff Tolwinski and John Marhefka. But, guys, the holiday season is here. And if you've got some friends and family who might have a nice some facial hair, well, I suggest you reach out to our sponsor, the wonderful guys over at the Hemp Wizard Beard Care Company, and get your gifts for the holiday season. Let's take a look at a quick commercial for our sponsor.
Hemp Wizard products are proudly used by former New England Patriots linebacker Brandon Spikes, Suicide Silence guitarist Mark Haleman, Canadian actor Jackson Rowe, Mr. Grimm and Noctis the drummers of Walking Corpse Syndrome, guitarist and vocalist Bub Heaston and bassist Ted Wilson of Black Sasquatch, guitarist and vocalist Adam Hines of Fester, Aaron Witzel, guitarist of Cropsy Maniac, Roy Boy, host of the Licking County Metalheads podcast, Crash Fistfight and Maxine Maxwell, host of the Musicians Hangout podcast, Jeff Towlinski, host of the Hard Rockin' Sports Show. You too can give your beard the magic touch and treat your skin to the finest. Visit hempwizard.net today and use code 20OFF to save 20% off of your entire order.
There you go. Remember, guys, if you're shopping for the holiday season, for your loved one, skincare and beard care products, no better place to go than hempwizard.net. And our dear friends, Joe Casano and Mike Weissman. We'll get a little bit more from that from Jeff. And remember, we have the Sunday Audible product coming out pretty soon called the Audible. So stay tuned. But, guys, let's get the show started the best way I know how. And, again, that is by bringing on my two co-hosts. One is the fuzziest guy in the room, the sexiest man on his side of the screen, Mr. Jeff Tolwinski. And, of course, the big shot over at RFL Records and definitely the most dapper dressed guy on the show, Mr. John Marhefka. What's up, boys?
Morning, guys.
Good morning.
What's up?
That's it. What's up?
Hey, I like the
kind
Hemp
of
Wizard
like
commercial.
starstruck at what John's wearing. I'm trying to figure it out.
Yeah, I had to wake up this morning, so what better way than the bright orange Denver?
Wake up the entire neighborhood with that outfit, man.
That's it.
Hey, boys. So, yes, Jeff, how does it feel to be a star of a commercial?
Well, nobody's asked me for anything yet, like autographs or I don't have women throwing their underwear and bra at me. Nothing.
Nothing like that happening yet?
No, nothing.
Well, I think
So it's just a regular day.
I decided that this week you are going to record your own Hemp Wizard commercial for the show. I will write something up, send it to you, and then we will record that and have our own Hemp Wizard.
Actually, we could even do it later. So,
yep, that's very true. We could absolutely
Right.
do it later. I'm looking forward to Jeff and I will be going out to dinner this evening. And by the way, Jeff, congratulations and happy anniversary to you and your beautiful wife on your 15-year wedding anniversary.
yep. Thank you.
Happy anniversary, Jeff.
Thank you
I
both.
was happy to be at the wedding itself. Thank goodness. And again, but we got a lot of football talk to get to. Lots going on in the Super Parity League. Such one of the, John, we talk about this every week, but boy, oh boy, this season is the epitome of what the NFL wanted. Okay.
It really is, though. I mean, if you look down at the schedule here, I mean, how about LA and Tampa Bay playing each other 3-4 and 3-5?
It's
I mean,
it's the who care game. It's the who cares game at this point.
Who would have
At
thought
this
that? Who
point-
would have thought the Commanders would be 4-4 too?
Because you got to understand something. The league is in the process of switching around. Okay, teams like the Rams with an old quarterback in Matthew Stafford, the Buccaneers with a quarterback like Tom Brady. These teams are starting to rotate now, and other teams are going to start coming up. I just saw a list. I was going to take it. I should look, see if I can find it, where news writers were voting their top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL right now.
Oh boy. Okay.
And Tua was on the list.
Well, I mean, I would guess, guys, it's I think of most casual fans at the least, but I think a lot of people it would probably start with obviously Josh Allen, Tua, Jalen Hurts. I would say I think in theory Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow. I mean, I'm going to leave off the old names because they're just not playing well. Right?
Well, it's the point that
Mahomes as well.
not only they're not playing well, but it's starting to turn over. That's exactly what it is. I got to try to find this article, but
again, guys, what we're seeing, John, is a changing of the guard. I mean, you're seeing surprising teams. The Jets, obviously. A disappointing loss last week, but still a team that's definitely on the rise. The Giants, a little bit of a surprise team, still a little ways away. I mean, I think a little bit of scheme and mirrors for the Giants, but I think the old guard, and John will throw your Steelers in there. There's a lot of teams, Steelers, the Bucks, the Packers, some of the old guard guys, teams that have been in it every single year. Just, I think it's time for them to take that turn down.
Yeah, it's been a lot of years, and boy, when they take the turn down, they just jump right off the cliff.
Yeah,
especially this year. I mean, the Packers. If you watch the Packers, I mean, I watch them week after week, and catch all the games, and I really don't understand what's going on there. I mean, Aaron Rodgers looks lost. They have no chemistry whatsoever.
Well,
I mean, the receivers and the defense is playing lousy as well.
Yeah, I think, Jeff, I think a lot of part of that is the fact that they have a very young team with an older quarterback who really doesn't care, didn't spend any time with anybody in the offseason, came in just expecting to throw footballs to people, and they've got no cohesion, and John said no chemistry.
well, guys, I just found those lists. There was 2 writers, Matt Bowen and Jason Reed, gave up their top 5 quarterbacks right now.
Okay.
You just want to take a guess? First, we'll do Matt Bowen, who his top 5 picks were, because 2 of them I was like, you got to be kidding me.
Well, if you're going to go outside the box, then I'm going to say he's got. I'm going to give you the outside the box guys that he probably has in there. Let's see. I'm going. Obviously, he's got Tua in there, right?
Yeah, I said that earlier, but I don't think he'll get the other one, to be honest with you.
I mean, it's Geno Smith.
No.
Okay.
I'm going to guess Kyler Murray.
No, he's got Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts,
Okay.
Tua, and Lamar Jackson to round out his top 5.
Yeah, that's the typical bullshit from the NFL. That's just typical. let me look at a guy and give him that praise. He don't deserve it. I'm sorry. Win a playoff game and then maybe, but
Listen,
Lamar Jackson doesn't belong
right,
in the
when
crowd.
they say who are the NFL's top 5 quarterbacks right now,
Yeah.
doesn't mean what they have yet to do or whatever. The
I
other
got it.
guy, he has Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. They seem to be the consensus.
Yeah.
1 and 2. Jalen Hurts.
Okay.
So they're top 3 together. Lamar Jackson, then Geno Smith.
Oof.
Yeah, when you have Geno Smith in a top 5 best quarterback in the NFL right now,
Yeah.
that's saying something. There's no Brady, no Rodgers,
Oh.
no Wilson.
No.
Matt Ryan has been benched for the season. It's the whole NFL is going to make a huge turn next year at this time. I think you're going to see teams in the playoffs or teams in playoff contention that you would have never have thought.
I totally agree. But here's a guy who's left off that list, guys, and he's the quarterback of a 6-1 team, and that's Kirk Cousins. I'm not a fan. I'm not saying it, but how do you put Lamar Jackson in that list? How do you put Geno Smith in that list? And Kirk Cousins is not on that list.
Geno Smith has right now in this season. Geno Smith has some incredible numbers. I hear you. I mean, you look at the rest of his body of work, and you're going to be like, "Are you kidding me?"
Yeah,
but
I'm not going off of 1.5 a season.
Almost 73% completion rate. He's got some unreal numbers, and then you want to go one further, like Daniel Jones is 6-1.
Yeah,
but how you look at his numbers, they're not good enough to be a top 5.
Yeah. But again, it can't just be wins and losses because I don't. And again, I always say quarterbacks get too much credit for wins and too much credit for losses. It's a team game. I get that that's how it's judged. But John, I love Daniel Jones. I think he's having a good season, but he's not killing it out there. Some of it's his fault. Some of it's not his fault. But I get that teams aren't playing well, but I'm not going to have a top 5 that doesn't have Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert on it. Both of those guys just have not had their team play well enough, John.
I think if you look at the list that Jeff's talking about, you're talking about, I would put Josh Allen at the top, any day right now, Patrick Mahomes. But those guys are really the leaders of those teams.
Those are the guys. Those are 1A, and then it's everybody else's, right?
And Jalen Hurts is stepping up as that leader right now. But if you look at Geno Smith, it's not just his body of work. It's a team effort.
Absolutely.
The way that team's playing, they're running a football, playing good defense, and not making the mistakes that Geno Smith normally makes.
Mm-hmm.
But you're looking at 7-8 games right now. I mean, you're looking at half a season. That body of work needs to carry through to the end. And I think Lamar Jackson's the same way. I mean, Lamar Jackson has looked fantastic this season. I see him sitting in a pocket making those throws, but now, there's times where he's just, you don't know what he's thinking. He needs to maintain that consistency, get him to the playoffs, and really start building it as a leader of that team. I think, that's kind of like what they're looking at, that half a season. But it's a team effort with a lot of those guys.
I can't advocate for Geno Smith because, I mean, listen, he is what he is. His record, his career has shown what he is. But real quick, he's 181 out of 249, 72.7 completion rate, 1,924 yards. He's averaging 240 yards a game, 13 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. He's been sacked 19 times. Now, right now, Seattle is atop that division at 5-3. Everybody would have thought, including myself and us, on this show, thought that the Seahawks were going to be nothing this year.
I thought they were going to tank this year. I said I thought they were tanking, so I'm on the record on this one. So.
I can't say that, and he was a quarterback for both our teams, Tom.
Yeah,
he killed the streak.
Absolutely.
On the other side of the hallway, thank God. When he, but it was still the point that
got to go there. All right.
The guy has played well.
Yeah.
When he filled in for what's his face Wilson last year, he was averaging 25 pass attempts.
Right.
This year he's up to 31. So they're letting him throw the ball a little bit more. Not much, but it's still a little bit more.
But do we discount the other 8 years, or and just
no? That's why I said in the beginning. I said you can't make a big enough stink for him because of what his past is.
Correct. It's half
He is
half
what
a
he is.
season. Yeah, half a season on a team that really had no expectations whatsoever. So
Yeah, well, without a doubt.
hey,
Good
Mike
morning,
Weissman, thanks for
good morning,
popping in,
Barry.
pal.
I don't know if she's still watching, but no, I'm just bringing. Listen, in the NFL,
Yep.
you're playing and living in the moment, and that's where we are.
Yeah.
When you brought up Joe Burrow is a what do you call it? Not a disgrace. I'm not going to say he's a disgrace. That's the
No.
wrong word, but he's a disappointment. Justin Herbert has been dealing with a lot of injuries to himself, his
Yep.
team. He had both his number one wide receivers are out this week. So how is the guy supposed to carry on if you don't have half your team? His offensive line is shot. It's a shame.
Yeah, but I think you have to. If you're rating quarterbacks, are we basing it, John, on wins and losses? Are we basing it on the whole package? Because if you base it on the whole package, you can't not include Joe Burrow, who's had some really great games this year. But again, offensive line's killing him. They did not fix the problem from last year. The defense hasn't been great. Now Chase is out, and the same thing for Justin Herbert. He was hurt early, and he's Williams is out. Keenan Allen's out. Do we take that into account?
Yeah, I think you have to look at the whole picture. I think Justin Herbert, just watching him, with that injury, that's affecting him. Receivers out, but on the good side of this, thank God he has Austin Eckler.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at he has a guy that he can check down to. And I think on the Joe Burrow side, if you look at what Cincinnati is doing, they're not able to run the football.
Mm.
Joe Mixon. I know you guys got him on one of your fantasy teams. It's just one of those things. I mean, when you can't run the ball, you can't pass protect.
Mm-hmm.
You can't lay all that on the quarterback. I mean, he can only do so much. With Chase out, that's a hit. He has a great receiving core with Boyd and Higgins, though.
Mm-hmm.
But not being able to run the ball is really the key here for those guys. And I think with the Chargers, not able to pass protect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but you know what? Listen, I think I know what you're trying to say, but it's making up too much of an excuse for these guys. Joe Burrow was a quarterback last year, played in the Super Bowl. Okay, this year his team's just not that good. I understand what you're saying. You can't base it all on wins and everything, but nobody goes into the NFL saying, you know what? I hope that we're 7-10 and I throw for 5,000 yards and 33 touchdown passes. It's beyond individual stats. If these guys aren't helping their team to win, they need more help themselves or they need to be better players. Somebody like Joe Burrow, was he a Cinderella team last year or did they actually deserve to be there? And did they play another Cinderella team last year? Because let's face it, neither one of these teams are probably going to make the playoffs.
Well, I think the Rams sold their soul for last year. Jeff.
Right.
It's very possible, but you know what? They got a lot of pieces back from last year, though, Tom, too.
No, I agree, but I think they went all in and they did it, and we all know it's very hard to repeat. It's very hard to keep that enthusiasm up, that dedication to win when you just won. The coach didn't really want to come back. He got a huge offer to come back. Aaron Donald was going to retire. He got a huge offer to come back. They came back for the money. There's a big difference. It's like the eye of the tiger thing in my book. When you're hungry for it, you make those extra plays. When you're not. And Jeff, just to fix on your Joe Burrow thing, he's leading the league in pass yards. He's got 2,300. He's 211 for 305. His completion percentage is almost 70%. 17 TDs, 6 interceptions. His quarterback rating is 101.9. I mean, you look at it.
How many times has he been flattened?
Well, that's the thing. He's been sacked 29 times. So
Hey, guys,
how much are we blaming him? So why isn't he on that list with those kind of numbers? Is it because his team isn't very good? Because Joe Burrow's very good. It's just his team's not good, John.
But guys, if you look at these offenses too, I mean, the Bills' offense is a good example. It's predicated on Josh Allen, his ability to run the ball. Patrick Mahomes is the same way. His escapability, his ability to move on the fly and make those key throws. If you look at a guy like Joe Burrow or a guy like Justin Herbert, that their offenses are predicated more so on sitting in a pocket, being able to run the ball, have the checkdowns. And the Giants are I put up in the category with Josh Allen and Mahomes. I mean, they're using Daniel Jones and his ability to move outside the pocket and run the ball, and that's why they're winning games because they're giving them a little more freedom. So if you look at that list, you know, it's the style of offense that these guys play and the style of quarterback that they are. And Jalen Hurts is in the top three as well, same way.
I kind of disagree with that.
Yeah.
I'll tell you why. All right, because one, you got Cincinnati, they're 4-4.
Mm-hmm.
All right, they're a game out of first place, yeah. But right now, if the playoffs were to start today, it pretty much would start without them, I believe. I'd have to definitely look a little bit.
I have it in front of me. Hold on, let me tell you. So right now we top 7. So you got 1.
They're on the border,
There's 4, yeah, and then you got
The Jets, Miami.
No, yeah. So you get 2 out of there. There'd be 1 left over.
And the Chargers.
Well, Chargers have a better winning percent, but they have 1 less game.
Well, right now.
So yes, if today was going on, yes, they'd be out. You're 100% right. They'd be out of the playoffs.
Okay, and as far as Justin Herbert goes over in Los Angeles, let's face it for what it is. He's a great quarterback, and listen, I hope he throws for 400 yards every week between now and the end of December, especially when we start. But that's another story. But
a whole different kettle of fish.
Yeah, he's in the league 3 years, 4 years, and he's yet to make the playoffs. So he hasn't been able to take him and lead his team to the next level.
Yep.
So that hurts him. That hurts him. Jalen Hurts, you can make a point for every one of those other quarterbacks. Mahomes and Allen, nothing more to be said.
Yeah.
Okay. They're probably there's your Super Bowl this year, whether you want to admit it or not. I think.
No, it can't be Super Bowl.
Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah. I got
the AFC Championship
game like last year. I agree with. Yeah, yes. We're gonna get to the 2-team race. I think it is for the Super Bowl, but Jeff, I got your point. I'll end it with this. We'll move on. I think you can blame these guys because that's the position they play. But if you look at Joe Burrow, if you look at Justin Herbert, their numbers are up there. Think about this: Burrow, Brady, and Herbert are in the top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Matt Ryan's number 7. There are 3 or 4 guys that are on bad teams in the top 7 and they're quarterbacks. So, you can play as well as you want if the rest of the team, if your defense is bad, if you get bad coaching, if you got a bad offensive line, there's not much more you can do. But speaking of guys on the hot seat, I do want to get to some of the guys. And John, I'm going to lead it off with you because to me, the biggest one of the I hate to say he's on a hot seat, but first losing season, teams turning over or need to turn over. What's the status of Mike Tomlin? Are they talking about a change altogether, moving him up to different, or are they going to move forward with a whole change with him as the coach?
I'll tell you what, Tommy. As much as I'd like to see this guy on the hot seat, at least on the hot seat, I mean, there's got to be some pressure placed somewhere, and it's been a lot of years. I've been talking about this, but I haven't heard anything. I mean, we talked about the going into the bye week and the way the offense played last week. Was Matt Canada going to go? There's still nothing out there. It's the same old thing. And I think, I put a lot of this blame on the Roonies. I really do. I understand it's a young team. You got a rookie quarterback in there. But the things that you thought were going to be solid, like the defense. I mean, the secondary is a sieve. We saw that last week. They can't stop the run again. We're just looking at a team that is bad in all phases. I mean, I don't see anything that's going well. For these guys, and what's the change going to be? Is there going to be something where we say, well, and this is what I think is going to happen? Is they're going to let it go, and put it as, hey, this guy has had a winning season every season since he's been here. There's going to be no pressure put on him like there always isn't, and you'll see Matt Canada at the end of the season with the same things going on. I think it's about time that they finally say, hey, listen, guys. There needs to be some pressure placed here somewhere. Somebody has to take the blame. I don't want to hear it is what it is, and we accept that. I'm tired of the Tomlinisms. I want to see some pressure put on the guy, and make this guy step up, get this team together, and get that locker room together, and get them in that that winning I don't even know what to say. That winning style that they're used to.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot missing here.
Yeah, I agree. Now, Jeff, there's another team. I was a little surprised to see this week, but there's a lot of talk in the journalistic. If you go to like the Bleacher Reports and Pro Football Talk, that not only Derek Carr but Josh McDaniels all on the hot seat. A bad start, a team that I thought was going to be much better. Again, I had them possibly going to the playoffs and making a run in that division. Could Josh McDaniels just be the epitome of some guys can't be a head coach?
Oh, definitely, without a doubt. I'm trying to see. I can't get it. Maybe you can get it. If you could get last year's record,
I can
for the Raiders. They've always been a team that kind of hovered, but like the top of the next tier.
Mm-hmm.
They were never really mentioned with Super Bowl talk, but they were always
10-7 last year, Jeff. 10-7.
10-7 last year. There's no
and
way.
They fired the coach.
Yeah, well, they fired the coach, but they had that other guy.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. They Gruden had to leave, and they brought the other guy. I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but
he did a great job considering every week something different happened with that team.
Right.
From their wide receiver killing people to all sorts of shit happening over there last year. And it's a shame. That's the guy that should have been the coach for that team.
Obviously.
And it's I don't know, Derek Carr, whatever.
Derek Carr.
He's just I don't know. At one time we thought he was going to be the next Tom Brady, and this guy's just horrendous. We had to let him go off of. He's so bad we cut him on our fucking fantasy team.
I did on mine too.
He scored 10 points last week. He scored 10 points.
He got me 1 point last week.
Yeah, we had 10. And it's a decent week to the idiot. We win. Oh my God! But yeah, Jeff, I agree. And you hate to just give Josh McDaniels 1 year, but there is a pattern to this. From the Bronco years, and he took a team. They went out. They sold their soul. They brought in Devontae Adams. The offense has not thrived. They cut last year's number one pick and Alex Leatherlung, whatever that guy, Leatherwood. This is a team that I had 10-7 last year, Jeff. I had expectations they were coming back this year, another playoff run.
Well, this proves to one thing that I was going to say.
Yeah.
And John, you need to pay attention to this because this is the harsh reality of it all. I understand you're not happy with Mike Tomlin.
Yeah.
But Mike Tomlin has been consistent. In all his years there, he gives you winning teams. Maybe you don't win the Super Bowl, but you get winning teams. And then a guy like Josh McDaniel, 1 year in L.A. or Las Vegas, and already they're calling for his head, and he may not make it. So, you guys, the Steelers have been a model of consistency with Chuck Noll and then, Phil Cowher, and now Tomlin. So they give their coach plenty of time and they let it develop.
Yeah.
With somebody like in Las Vegas, you didn't win today, so you're already looking for the new guy tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. Consistency. Even though there's parity in the league, you need consistency. If you don't get consistency, you ain't going to win. The Colts are showing that right now.
Oh, yeah.
They started 4 different quarterbacks in the last 4 years. And Tommy, you brought up about Matt Ryan, a top 7 quarterback. Well, where is he? He ain't even going to see the field unless there's an injury. And they benched him for a 6th rounder.
Yeah.
How does that happen? You want to see what you have in a 6th rounder? Meanwhile, you got Matt Ryan that's in the top 10 quarterbacks in the league. I understand that he wasn't lighting it up, but top 10 is top 10.
Well, I mean, stay on that. I want to go back to what you just said a minute ago, Jeff, about consistency and winning. But I want to. But you know what, guys? Here's what I don't understand about Frank Reich, and he's supposed to be a genius, and I get all of that. But last year they ran the ball, and they had a really good season, and you expect they brought Matt Ryan in. I thought to be a game manager. They wound up not running the ball, John, and they took a big weapon out. And now Matt Ryan's benched, and now Taylor's out. This season just imploded, and Frank Reich needs to be on the hot seat for it.
I agree. Jeff brought it up with consistency. I mean, how can you go from running a football? What were they at? They were 60-40
Yeah.
run the pass, 70-30, something like that. And then this year, other than Shaq Leonard on defense, which is a key element there.
Mhm.
They haven't really lost anybody.
No.
So you go
Change
into
of
the
philosophy.
season, right? But guys, I mean, if you look at the Colts right now, wouldn't you point this at Irsay? I mean, it's just something where I think he's getting involved a little bit too much right now. With all these changes, you need to let the coach do what he does.
Well,
And
do you
is
think he
Frank
went
Reich
in there and
listening to
told him not to run the ball and to put the ball in the air more? Is that what you're thinking?
That's what I'm saying. I mean, it's just you bring Matt Ryan in, and you would think, like you said, Tommy. I mean, would he be the game manager? I mean,
Yeah.
you have the best running back in the leagues,
Yeah.
supposedly, and he's done absolutely nothing this year. I mean, he's been the fantasy bust of the season.
Yeah.
And the team's a disappointment week after week. It's the same mistakes.
Yeah.
They're I don't see them digging themselves out of this hole. Like you said, putting a sixth rounder in over Matt Ryan.
Hold on one second, Jeff, before you add that. Hi, guys, you're listening to the Sunday Audible here on Saturday, November the 5th, week number 9 of the NFL season. Thank you guys for tuning in and joining us, and make sure you come back each week as we get we're at the halfway point as we bring you the second half of the season each and every week here with a unique brand of picks and analysis on the Sunday Audible. Yeah, Jeff, I'm sorry to cut you off.
As far as Frank Reich goes and everything that John you just said, I understand and you're right. But you know what? Things change. You get certain players in that maybe help you and give you an advantage a different way. Then maybe you have to change your philosophy a little bit. If you go out every year and you're going to be running the ball 70-30, everybody knows that you're running the ball 70-30. Stack the box, stack the box, stack the box. Okay, they didn't get it. So now it's a 3rd and 10, 3rd and 8. They're going to throw. They didn't get it. They're out. And you'll be so, what do you call it? What's the word I'm looking for, man? Shit. So predictable that you could get a bunch of Pop Warner kids to beat you. But you know what? Here's the thing that wasn't consistent. Frank Reich and the quarterbacks that he had. Everybody thought that he was going to do something great with Carson Wentz because they were together in Philadelphia, and it didn't happen. You got Phillip Rivers, who was a year past his due date as it was. Now you got Matt Ryan, who, to Tommy, you said, he wasn't exactly doing great things in Atlanta.
No.
He was on a bad team ever since the Super Bowl. He hasn't been playing that well.
Correct.
But he wasn't a bad quarterback.
No, game manager.
Right.
Injuries take their toll. But this is also a team that went 0-3 to start the season.
Yep.
And has been 4-4, 0-1 since then.
Mm-hmm.
So like they have been turning around a little bit. But I think once they lost those 3 games and everything with Matt Ryan, that team is in a mess. It really is. I think Mike needs to go.
Oh, I couldn't agree with you more. I think at some point, if you can't figure it out, it's time to move on. But guys, I want to go backwards for a minute. Jeff, you brought up a great point about consistency and winning, and I'm gonna ask you guys a question. I want both of you guys to give me honest answers. There was a press conference in New York yesterday for the Yankees, and it was the end of the press conference. There was a lot of talk, and the conversation was, even though the Yankees haven't won a World Series since 2009, for the last 25 years they have not had a losing record. They're consistently 90-plus win team every year. So as a fan, and I'll go back to one more thing. When the Giants won 2 Super Bowls from 2007 to 2011, I was asked, hey, the Giants suck in between, although they had one good year in between that when Plaxico shot himself in the leg. But would you take 2 Super Bowls in 10 years, but the other 8 years you suck? Or do you want to win, 12 games every year but not win the Super Bowl? So the question I ask you guys is, would you take your team winning 2 Super Bowls in 10 years or 10 straight years of 10, 11, 12 wins, but maybe no playoff success? Jeff, I'll ask you that first. What would be more important?
You know what? If you would ask me this question a couple years ago, I would have said that I would have taken the consistent play and the 10, 12 wins a year, because then you would have been within Super Bowl talk.
Yeah, your team's relevant. Your team's relevant all year.
Things of you. and everything else. But now I look at it a little differently. And the reason I look at it a little differently is because the NFL doesn't allow teams to be successful and to win games year after year after year and get into the playoffs. Very few teams do that year after year. There's always different teams that are in the playoffs. So to win 2 Super Bowls in 10 years at this point in time in the NFL today, in today's NFL, is practically a dynasty.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to happen.
I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more.
Patrick Mahomes was supposed to win the next 10 Super Bowls when he won his first Super Bowl.
Yeah.
He was been back once and he got beat.
Yep.
Okay. Tom Brady's only won 1 Super Bowl in the last how many years? You know, Roethlisberger didn't win anything his last couple of years. Rivers never won a Super Bowl. Eli only won the 2 Super Bowls that you're talking about. So, you know, it's the consistency is good. Yeah. A la Mike Tomlin.
Yep. Well, that's my point. That's where I'm getting to. So that's where
we look at Mike Tomlin and we're like, man, this guy is within, you know, talking the Super Bowl every year. His team is doing good, this, that, and the other thing. What happens? They just fall short. They fall short. And you know, I don't know whose fault it is because I don't follow him that closely, but he's getting 10, 11, 12, 13 wins a year. That's the way the Steelers play.
Right.
But then you look at some of the other teams. Yeah. Okay. So they were 12-4, and now they were 4-12, 3-13, 13-3, 14-2. They win a Super Bowl, and then that's it. You don't hear what happened to Carolina. Never made a Super Bowl again. Atlanta never made a Super Bowl again. The Bengals don't look like they're going to make a Super Bowl again anytime.
Yeah.
So consistency in the win column is one thing. Filling up the trophy case is something else.
John, I mean, you guys have been the epitome of consistency, but I sense a lot of frustration every time we talk about your team. Yet, you know, if you look at Jeff and I the last 10 years, you know, I think we both have had one season where we've had, you know, at least a 500 team. I would give my soul for that. But yet, I'll go back to my 10 years that I put with Eli before, and I said, I'll take the 2 Super Bowls in 10 years and take the other 8 years bad. Which, you know, as a Steeler fan, where do you see it?
I see it the way you just said it, Tommy. I mean, I want to see these guys win playoff games and win Super Bowls. I mean, if you win 2 in 10 years, I would rather see that. I mean, it's kind of like watching these guys is kind of like, you know, coffee with no sugar to me. There's no sweetness. I mean, you get the bitterness all the way through the 10 years. You know, the guy gets them there. They lose in a first round. I mean, you lose to Tim Tebow. You lose to Blake Bortles at home. I mean, you give up a ton of points. I mean, it's just one thing after another with this guy. And I think the problem for me, like I said, is there's never any blame put on him. I mean, we've changed offensive coordinators, 6 out of the 10 years, all different guys. I mean, you know, it's obviously not the problem. The problem, I point, is to the top because there's no pressure put there. You know, I want to see him. You know, that's what the goal is when you're in the NFL, to win Super Bowls, to win championships, to win playoff games. It's not to hit 300 every season and, you know, and just barely get there or maintain a winning record through the regular season. I mean, you know, it's kind of like hockey.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look at, you're going to play, you know, 80 games and, you know, you get through the season, you slide through and you make the playoffs, but you win the Stanley Cup. I mean, that's what you want to see. This guy's great in the regular season. Can't win playoff games. And I think that's where the mark is right there. I think we set that standard too high here.
You know what I think? I think the poster child. Where did he go?
I don't know. He's cut himself off. We'll get him back. I'm sure he'll be back.
I think the poster child for what your question is the uniform that John is sporting today, which is the Denver Broncos. This is a team where they either start off 8-0 every year. Mm-hmm. I'll wait for John to come back. John, I was just going to say, I think the poster child for what the question Tommy asked is the jersey that you're wearing, which is the Denver Broncos. Every year, they either start off 0-8 or 8-0, it seems. And like they're either a great team and they're heading towards the Super Bowl or they're going towards another rebuild. And it's like they're so consistent with being inconsistent that, you know, that they're like a perfect team for what we're saying. 1 year they're good, then they're bad. Then they shoot back up, they're good, and then they're bad. Then they're a 500 team, and then they're bad. Then they're good. It's just amazing that certain teams just can't hold on to a winning formula and advance it into the playoffs and getting themselves some trophies.
Yeah, and you know what? And that's why I think the New England Patriots of the last 20 years should be really put up there as one of the greatest teams of all time. In that era with the 70s Steelers and the 80s 49ers, and maybe even greater, because if you really think about it, for close to 20 years, not only did they win a lot of Super Bowls, but they won games every year. They did not have down years, and I think that's an amazing feat, and which I would tell you guys in our lifetime will probably never be duplicated again in the way the NFL set up today.
I don't know about that.
I think it's hard to do, but hey, guys, it's the holiday season. We celebrated here. I opened up the show today with a little bit of Charlie Brown and Lucy, and the kicking of the football, which kicks off the holiday season here with the Sunday Audible, and we of course are big fans of the holiday season. And of course, if you're looking to buy your holiday gifts for your bearded friends and family, don't look no further than our sponsor and our good friends Joe Casano, Mike Weissman, and Hemp Wizard Beard Care Company. Those guys have a great line of beard care products as well as skin care products, and nobody knows it better than my fuzzy friend, the star of the commercial for Hemp Wizard that I opened the show with, Mr. Jeff Timo. Jeff, tell everybody about the Hemp Wizard products.
I got my lawyer coming after those guys, man. They use my likeness without asking my permission.
I don't think it was your likeness, actually.
This is the stuff right here. John, let me ask you something. You got a big family?
Yeah. Big
get together for Christmas and everything?
We do.
And you got that one aunt that sits in the corner by herself the whole time. Nobody really goes and talks to her to say hello to her. And it's why? And it's because she has some mustache. Maybe she has some beard.
That's it.
Okay, she's going to be wiry. You get her some of this, right? Tell her to put this on in the shower. When she gets out of the shower, she rubs a little bit of this beard oil in there. You just put a little in there and you just rub it in, and it makes the skin nice and smooth. The beard, it smells great. You get this stuff. It doesn't kill your pocketbook, and it works well. It's great stuff. I love it. They sent my wife some hand lotion. She loves it. Nice apple scented and blueberry scented. You can make your aunt smooth beard and mustache. Get her some hand lotion. Make her nice so that her bony skeletal hands, when they touch her, you're not going to
She comes to the kitchen. She comes to the dining room table now after that.
What's that?
You sit with the rest of the family now.
Yeah, you can actually call her for dinner because, the kids ain't going to be scared and everything else. And it's like you have Aunt Tilly. Yeah, you still have her at the far end of the table, not at my table. You got to sit down there, C12 or something like that, But you bring her back. You have her back in the family. Be like, welcome back, man.
She gets a hug maybe after that.
Well, just as long as you're going to be careful, because if she's got that red lipstick on, like it looks like she put it on with a trowel, then she's going to be giving out some holiday kisses. You got to sacrifice the children at that point in time.
I'm not sure I'm not sure the Hemp Wizard guys would qualify as a quality commercial for their products. But hey, we mean well. And with the holiday season here, if you're looking for some stocking stuffers or some nice gifts for your friends and family, please reach out to the guys at Hemp Wizard BeardCareCompany.net. Actually, it's HempWizard.net or the Hemp Wizard Beard Care Company. And our buddies again, Joe Casano, Mike Weissman. They're huge sponsors of the show. And the Thursday night show. And by the way, the Thursday night show, we had a glitch, and we're going to be having Jeff Westlake back on the show next Thursday night to talk about his new project with the gods.
He wasn't able to come on?
Well, he came on, but I had a computer malfunction about halfway through the interview.
That sucks.
Yeah, so only got to do about an hour of the show, but we'll try it again next Thursday. But and again, guys, please, for the holidays, keep coming back to the Sunday Audible show. We'll be here every Saturday. I don't know we have to figure out what we'll do on Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve, but we'll be around for the holidays. Don't you worry about it. But let's get to some other topics here. You know what I want to bring up first off, former Redskin, and I will say Redskin for the rest of my life. Mr. Dave Butts passes away. a stalwart on that Redskin team of the '80s, John and Jeff, and also Ray Guy has passed away, and Ray Guy's maybe one of the most underrated, not talked about players. The fact that there's not a something named after a guy who was the first number one pick as a punter and the first Hall of Fame punter, is kind of a travesty, guys. And Jeff, there's a guy who was a weapon. 3 Super Bowl teams. Just an amazing play. Not just best quote was Ray Guy was a football player who punted. John Madden. Jeff, got a memory of Ray Guy or a thought on Ray Guy?
He was playing a little bit before my time that I was really paying attention to football, but I understand what he did within the game. And, it's a shame. And it's hard to believe that a punter was drafted number 1 in the first round overall.
Yep. Well, it wasn't number 1 overall, but he was the Raiders' number 1 pick. I don't know where they picked that year. Maybe it was probably a lower end number 1 pick because they were so good in those years.
Right.
But John, you know what? Just an amazing player and the guy had a 93-yard punt during his career. The college football punter award is named after him. Just truly one of the greats.
It's an overlooked position.
Sure.
And it's a shame that, anybody goes before their time, but
72.
He wasn't all that old either.
No, 72. John, and again, a stalwart and one of the main guys on those great Oakland Raider teams of the 70s and the early 80s.
One of the things, I remember about, the Raiders especially, but if you look at Ray Guy, I mean, he was another weapon for these guys. I mean, coffin corner kick, which it's something that's it's not even thought of nowadays.
Nope.
Anybody that could do what this guy did, just an amazing player. And the teams, back then were colorful. To say the least.
Yeah.
It was nice to see a team like the Raiders, even though they were our rivals. I loved watching the Raiders with Stabler and Otis Sistrunk, guys like that. Guys. I was watching them when I was
sure, Matuzak and Alzado, right. And yeah. I think. Yeah, John, finish.
You got to think too, Ray Guy. He was on the Raiders for how many years?
14
years.
Yep.
How many other teams keep a punter for more than a couple of years? It seems as though that nobody even knows who the punter is on half the teams because it's like a rotating position. If you're punting for 48-yard net this year and they could get somebody that's 48.3 next year, they probably grab him because it's an advantage.
Sure.
So, Ray Guy showed, but then again, he also played in the time where longevity with one team was a big thing. It wasn't like
sure.
this.
Absolutely.
But these guys have there's a revolving door at certain positions, and punter and kicker are definitely one of them.
Guys, another thing with the parity of today, what I do miss, and John, you just brought up, and I want to just touch on it for a minute each, guys, is the personalities of that time frame, the 70s, and I'm sure the 60s, but I'm talking the 70s where, Jeff, teams hated each other. There were guys on teams you hated. Teams hated, team players on teams hated each other and went after each other, but they had personalities. We talked about Matuzak and Alzado and the Raiders, but all the teams had the guy who just had personality. Jeff, it's almost today to the point where it's cookie cutter, it's boring. There's very little rivalry left. Even when I think maybe there's rivalry amongst the fans a little bit, but the teams have no rivalry anymore. There's no personality in the league.
No, there is none. And I'm glad you brought this up. I actually saw a clip. I forget who it was. And at the time I was watching the clip, it didn't mean much to me. But now that you brought up what you did, it definitely hits a little home on this. But it was showing two defensive players, and one went up to the other. One was a rookie. The other guy was a veteran. And the veteran's telling the rookie, man, you're going to be good. You're going to be good one day. One day you're going to be good. And they're just going back and forth with their usual bullshit. To the point now they're going back and forth for so long. Then all of a sudden he's like, you know what? Give me your jersey. Give me your jersey. They start exchanging jerseys.
Yeah, that's been a big thing the last few years. Yeah.
Why the fuck are you telling this guy on the other team that he's going to be good one year? Yeah. How about telling him, fuck you, and next time I'm going to hit you harder, or next time I'm going to play offense so I can hit you harder. You know what I mean? Instead of these, you're going to be good. Oh, give me your jersey. Give me your jersey. What are they going to next? Let me sign my jockstrap. You know what I mean? It's unfucking believable. Unbelievable.
It really is. It really is. And John, where guys like us grew up in an era where there were guys I hated in the league. I mean, I hated the Eagles. So many players on that team I just couldn't stand. Jaworski, Carol Carmichael. You just hated them. Every team. I hated the Redskins and Joe Theismann. I couldn't stand Joe Theismann.
Dude, how about this? How about this? We grew up during the 70s and 80s, okay? New York Yankee baseball. When the Boston Red Sox were coming to town or the Yankees were going up to Boston, it was war.
Yeah, it was a big deal.
The New York Rangers played the New York Islanders. It was war.
Absolutely.
Ron, you grew up in a different region. Tell us what is it that you saw? What compared to that? If you could even compare the Yankees to Boston, because that was like
that was the difference. Yeah,
that was the top of the heap, man.
Oh yeah, sure.
Was there any sports rivalries, whether it's college, NFL, Major League Baseball, that would fit into that category when you were growing up?
Yeah, we have a couple. Definitely, Steelers and the Browns was always huge. I mean, with Brian Sipe and and those guys would come into town. There was always that huge. I mean, you just bitter. And I think the Ravens carried that over with the Ray Lewis days. When they came into Pittsburgh, I hate Ray Lewis. I mean, I can't stand the guy to this day with that dancing. And, I just wish one of those times, a truck would come through the stadium and just, steamroll them. But, there's the Penguins and the Flyers is another one. The hatred there. I don't think anything matches that Boston and the Yankees. But, there's those rivalries. I mean, the Raiders was the same thing. The Steelers and the Raiders, even though it wasn't, a divisional game, the Oilers was the same thing. So we had a lot of teams that we hated those guys.
Steelers and the Dolphins of the 70s. Steelers and the Raiders of the 70s were huge. Those
Cowboys.
were big. Yeah, the Cowboys. I mean, they would take shots at Terry Bradshaw's head. They hated each other. And Jeff, that's the NFL that I grew up loving. It's just today.
Now everybody goes out there wrapped in bubble wrap. Don't hit him in the head.
Yeah, and and I get
him late. Yeah.
I get him. I mean, we've gone over to ad nauseum about the late hits on a quarterback and how ridiculous some of them have been this year. And I get you want to protect the golden child, but boy, I have to tell you, the NFL has gotten, let's use the best word I call it, corporate. And it used to be a bunch of guys in jeans and sneakers showing up on a Sunday with a case of beer behind the bench, to where you are today, where everything's buttoned up and nobody talks shit to each other. Nobody has a hatred for anybody. I mean, let's put it this way, real quick. Myles Garrett takes Mason Rudolph's head off.
Yep.
And nobody ever went after him after that, ever again. There was no hatred for the teams. No, it was just like it happened. No big deal. Let's move on. And to me, stuff like that, you just should have been retribution for years for a play like that against your team.
Right. Jack Lambert never would have had that. I mean, he would have been out there.
Oh my God! I don't even want to think about that. What would happen?
Right.
I think it was a Super Bowl game, and Cowboys Steelers, and I think it was Roy Girella misses a field goal, and Cliff Harris taps him on the helmet like, no big deal, and Jack Lambert comes running up and throws him body slams him to the ground. Think about what would have happened if Jack Lambert was in that game and Myles Garrett rips the helmet off and swings it at his player. It's a mentality that's just completely different, and we're never.
First of all, like you said, Tommy, when the next scheduled game came up between those teams, this would have been the talk of the NFL.
Oh shit!
Weeks leading up to this, they would have been scared. They would have tried to skip this game. They got to play twice in one season. Forget about it. The way the NFL is going now, sooner or later they're going to outlaw helmets because they ain't going to be able to hit them other than in a spot this big from the waist to the stomach, and that's it. So you're not going to have You're going to know who everybody looks like.
Yeah. Well,
Miles
she's
Garrett,
yeah.
if this was in the 70s, he'd be missing teeth at this point in time. He'd be full of blood and scars.
He wouldn't even
100%.
be walking. I mean, after hitting somebody with a helmet.
Now he changes jerseys in the fucking tunnel with Mason Rudolph.
Yeah, it's completely ridiculous, and that's the NFL to a certain extent. And listen, guys, we're going to watch, we're going to pay attention. That's why we do the show. But the NFL, while it's got what it's wanted, it's turned this league into a cookie cutter, blasé, no juice league. It's, maybe till you get to the playoffs. But the rivalry end of it to me is gone. Other than maybe for a fan standpoint, to a certain extent, but the players, there's no rivalry anymore. Nobody goes out there anymore and just hates a team because of what they're wearing. It doesn't happen anymore.
You know what, guys? If you really look at it, I mean, it's just really the way society moves now has really moved into the NFL and integrated itself. And
culture.
And the money too. I mean, the money back in the 70s, yeah, it was a huge league, but I mean, not the way it is now. I mean, these guys are paid like actors. I mean, they, and this is what they want the kids to see. They don't want the kids to see any aggression. They don't want the kids to see, hey, look, be a man now instead of just, giving a trophy to somebody for doing nothing.
Yeah.
And, that's exactly what they've incorporated here.
Yeah, and again, listen, the Sunday Audible show on a Saturday here. John Myhefka, Jeff Towinski, and myself, we got about another half hour tops. I got to bolt at 10:30. So let's get to our picks and a couple of things before the show gets before we lose the show. So guys, put on your thinking caps and let's talk football. Ready? All right, here we go, guys. First game of the week. Obviously, the Eagles beat the Texans. A little bit of a showing of weakness. The Texans were able to ground and pound a little bit on that, but Eagles still 8-0, guys. And I don't know if it's a surprise team, but I don't think any of us would have thought they would be 8-0 at this point, Jeff.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. I thought that they would have been at 500 at best, and Dallas would have been riding the top of that division. So yeah, I'm kind of shocked.
Yeah, and John, I don't see them going 17-0, but they're playing well enough, and they're doing enough with Jalen Hurts as having an MVP type season.
He definitely is, and you just brought that up, Tommy, with that game. I mean, I was impressed with the way the Texans played in that game.
Absolutely, yeah,
very impressed. And if Mills doesn't throw that bad interception, that's what turned the whole game right there, because they were in that. It switched the entire momentum. They gave the Eagles that easy touchdown. I think we saw some holes in that Eagles defense.
Yes.
And I think it's, that they got that nice, easy schedule that they have coming up. But I want to see a little bit more. But I think Hurts has had, a heck of a season. I mean, the guy looks great.
Yeah.
Not making mistakes.
But,
I'm surprised.
Again, it's that whole patience thing. Everybody's expecting instant gratification. Sometimes you got to give a guy a couple of years to learn the league. But guys, let's get to the week's games. Jeff, I'll start with you. The Jets at home facing the. Let's see. Hold on a second. Let me get it right here. Yeah, no, they're playing the Bills. I'm just trying to get up my information so I have everything in front of me.
I don't think this one's going to end up.
Okay, so you got the 5-3 Jets at the 6-1 Bills. Jeff coming off a very disappointing loss. This is a big game for the Jets, and I'll tell you why real quick. Because I don't think they're going to win. Obviously, I'm not picking them to win, but I think if the Jets can keep this below 10 points, and their defensive backs have a good showing, Jeff, this is a moral victory for a team not expected to win more than 4 or 5 games this year. So I'm taking the Bills, but I'm expecting the Jets to cover the 11.5, Jeff.
I don't know, dude. The Jets have a lot going on. Their running game is Zach Wilson. All of a sudden, Zach Wilson goes how many games in a row without an interception or a turnover? Yes, he has 3 interceptions, and now that's it. His career is hanging in the balance.
No, that's always the thing. Yes,
I know, but it's just amazing. Like they totally forget. That's another thing about the NFL. We totally forget what you did up until this moment.
Absolutely.
Like we stored all of that away with all the pre-Super Bowl shit. So it didn't actually happen. And I'm not saying that the guy is the second coming of fucking Brett Favre here. Don't get me wrong. But, he went how many games in a row without turning the ball over? little turbulence, and maybe we have a different quarterback starting next week. Who knows?
Yeah.
But this week, I could tell you, they ain't winning, and they ain't coming close. Buffalo is going to run all over them.
Okay, Jeff's in the Buffalo category. John, how do you see it?
I'm going to take Buffalo as well, but I think what Jeff said. The Jets need to stick with Wilson. This needs to be something where this guy
Absolutely
is their guy. You stick with him, you get behind him. I look at it as he had a down game. I mean, they looked really bad in that game, but everybody's going to have that. This is a young kid learning. He doesn't have a great receiving core. He lost a guy, the rookie of the year candidate in Hall, and I think there's things that go on here, but I think Coach Saleh's got it rolling. I think this is going to be a consistent team for a lot of years, but I don't think they get past the Bills. I mean, and Bills are still my Super Bowl pick, and they have been since last year.
Okay, guys. Game number 2, we got the surprisingly not good, well, not great Chargers versus the surprisingly good top of the division Falcons facing each other in Atlanta. I wouldn't even thought I'd be second trying to figure this one out all week because they're home and because the Chargers are decimated at the receiver. I'm taking the Falcons in this one. They're a home dog, 3 points. I'm sure I might be wrong on this one, and I kind of hope I am because Justin Herbert's starting for our fantasy team. But this Falcon team, while not great, has really exceeded my expectations. So I'm taking the Falcons at home. Getting 3 points. John?
I'm with you on this too, Tommy. I mean, I haven't seen a lot out of the Chargers, and with all the injuries decimated, I mean, Joey Bosa's out on the other side of the ball. Keenan Allen and Williams both in the receiving corps gone. I mean, they still have Austin Eckler, but if Atlanta can shut this down, and it's in Atlanta, so I'm going to go with the Falcons. The Falcons have been way beyond my expectations this year.
Yep. Jeff, what do you see? Jeff, Chargers on the road versus the Falcons.
Well, for my own selfish reasons, I'd like to see the Chargers win, without a doubt. But I think it's going to be hard for them without their 2 top wide receivers.
Yep.
I can't, in good conscience, sit here and tell you that I think that the Falcons are going to win it. But I think that they're going to make a game of it. I'm going to go with the Chargers, though, man. I have to stick with them. Okay,
fair enough. Guys, the 5-3 Dolphins on the road to the polar opposite 3-5 Bears. Some people think that the Bears, have turned the season around a little bit, but traded off Raekwon Smith. I think the Dolphins are a better team right now with Tua back there. A surprisingly better Tua. I'm going to take the Dolphins given 4 points on the road. To a team that doesn't really score a lot of points, so I'm taking the Dolphins this week. John,
I'm with you on this too, Tommy. I mean, unless there's a heavy windstorm that comes through or the fog bowl, I can't see Miami losing this. I mean, you lose a guy like Roquan Smith. Quinn's gone.
Yep.
What does that do to that defense? Those guys have been playing well all season too, way beyond expectations, and I think Miami comes in and lights it up.
I'm with you on that. Jeff, what's your thought?
I'm going to go with the Dolphins, man. And I'm hoping that Tyreek Hill puts on a clinic and catches like 250 yards and maybe 4 or 5 touchdowns. We're going to need him to make up the missing Herbert points this week.
He definitely gets in the end zone this week, Jeff.
I hope so, because I think he only has 2 touchdowns.
He's got a lot of yards, but
he's got a
not a lot of touchdowns. Yeah.
Let's let the motherfucker score some touchdowns, please.
Waddle had the game last week, but I think this week is going to be Hill.
I agree. Again, week number 9 in the NFL. Sunday Audible making our picks. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for stopping by. Come by every Saturday for the time being, as we do this every week at 9 o'clock. Guys, the 2 surprising teams. A team I thought I was going to tank the rest of the season, the Panthers. They are on the road in Cincinnati facing the underwhelming Bengals. I got a feeling the Bengals are due for a big week. I know Chase is not there. I'm going to take the Bengals in this one. I have no faith in P.J. Walker on the road. and I think the Bengals are desperate to fire it up on all cylinders. I'm taking the Bengals, given 7.5 this week, Jeff.
May be the way to go, Tom. Sooner or later, that's a team that's got to get back on track. As far as the Carolina train, it's not even on the tracks.
Yeah.
When you got Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield in the wings waiting to try to get back in.
Yeah.
They're a complete mess, an absolute mess. Man, is this team ever going to turn it around? You know what I think they should do?
What?
If I was the Carolina Panthers, I'm dead serious. I would consider doing a complete makeover, complete change. Start off with those uniforms that look like they're uniforms that they got on sale someplace. Pick different colors, do whatever it is you got to do, but start all over again, because everything with that team needs to be revamped, and including their look. It's just a shame that team is just old and stale looking.
I'm with you, John. The Cincinnati Bengals coming off a very bad loss to the Browns last week on Monday night. Need to win. So where are you going, John?
Yeah, they looked bad last week. They were way out of sync. Yeah, I think Burrow gets it back together. And you know what? I dare say this, that they run the football.
Yeah,
I could see Mixon. I'm expecting it to happen. I mean, I expect it the last few weeks, but they need to have some consistency in that ground game.
I'm with you on that, guys. Okay, next game up is the very underwhelming, two underwhelming teams for me this year. It's the division rival, the Lions, who I thought would be better at 1-6, and the underwhelming Green Bay Packers. We started off the show with talking about them, but the Packers are on the road in Detroit, favored by 3.5. I shuddered to do it, but I'm going to take the Packers. I'm going to stay with the Lions. I think the Packers lose their 5th game in a row. I think they're going to implode here. I think the Lions are going to sneak out a win at home. I'm going to take the Lions here. Jeff, where are you going?
I don't think the Lions are going to win another game this year.
Okay, fair enough.
I think they're going to end up going like 1-16. They're a bad team. I understand that they're in the midst of a rebuild, but they seem to have taken a step backwards.
100%. Yeah, 100%.
And I think that, you got a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers. I think he's going to exploit everything he can with a team like the Lions. I just don't see the Lions being competitive this week. Maybe another game, but, a division game, Aaron Rodgers is going to have to do something. Sooner or later, he's going to have to put this team on his back and carry it through. And this might as well be the game where it starts. And I got to go with Aaron Rodgers and the Packers.
Okay. John, what do you see, Johnny?
The way I look at this game, guys, is a divisional game. I look at it as, this is going to be the change of season for both of these teams, one way or the other. And I think Rodgers comes in here and gets it done. There's got to be something to get this guy. I mean, what better fix than to go into Detroit and finally get this passing game going a little bit. I like to see Dobbs take that step up. Somebody's got to do it here, and I think this is the game where they get it done.
All right, that's fine. Again, next game up, we got the let's see, where would I? Okay, so we got the where are the Patriots right now? The Patriots are 4, and so we got the 4-4 Patriots at home to the 3-4-1 Colts. Sam Ellinger starting. I'm giving take the Patriots in this one, guys. I know they're giving 6 points, but I think the Bill Belichick defense and a little bit of Mac Jones, I don't think the Colts stand a chance on the road without Jonathan Taylor. I'm taking the Patriots, Jeff, in this one.
Yeah, I don't understand. The Colts team has to be scratching their heads with the benching of Matt Ryan. I would think for a 6th rounder, that's my thing. Is it the guy's a 6th rounder and you took Matty Ice out of it for a 6th rounder, especially when he wasn't playing bad. Just statistically, wasn't playing bad. I think that Belichick and the Patriots, they won one against the Jets, which was big for them.
Yep.
A game that the Jets should have won. So
absolutely.
They're back. They're maybe back on track, back on their winning ways. I don't think it's going to help them in the long run, but I think it's going to start setting them up. I also think, and I got to ask the question before we go any further with this one, how much longer is Belichick going to stay in the league? this is 2 years in a row that he didn't make the playoffs last year, right? If I remember correctly, right? And or if he did, he was one and done. And is he going to make the playoffs this year? How much longer is he going to coach without results? How much longer is he going to want to stay there?
Yeah, I said it this year. I thought that the next year or two he move up in the organization, the president, and get out of the coaching. But I think with the moving on of Josh McDaniels, I think that's changed things a little bit. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that, John.
You said that he may be coming home anyway. So
well, I think that's changed. I think the way the Giants have changed things around, and I wouldn't doubt it. Don't get me wrong. If Bill Belichick called up the Giants and said, I want to come on and be president of the team, or I don't think you could ever turn that guy down. But
no, I'm not talking about Bill Belichick. I'm talking about that coach for L.A.
Oh, Josh McDaniels. Who knows? Yeah. Very
when the time comes, he's got to be the next coach, because who's it going to be for New England? Matt Patricia or Joe Judge?
I would have said yes, but you have if he gets fired out in Vegas right now. I mean, if you're Robert Kraft, are you bringing him back there to coach that team? Not as head coach, maybe as an offensive coordinator. The guy's got great results as an OC, but
I know, but the guy has been on the money with the Patriots for how many years? So
I'm with you. I'm with you. So, Jeff, what was your official pick on that game?
Patriots.
Johnny boy, what's your thoughts?
I'm with the Pats too, guys. I can't see the Colts with the 6th round they're coming in. In fact, I would take the Pats defense.
Yeah.
In fantasy league this week, I can't see. This is going to be ugly for the Colts, I think.
I couldn't agree with you more, guys. Again, Vikings 6-1 on the road facing the Redskins in D.C. 4-4 Redskins. A better Redskin team with Tyler Heineke than they've had. I don't know why they just don't give that guy the job full time instead of bringing in these retreads. John, I'm going to take the Vikings here. I don't think the Redskin defense is good enough yet. And I don't see a stumbling block right here for the Vikings. So I'm taking the Vikings on the road, giving only 3, surprisingly.
I see this as this could be a trap game for the Vikings. But I think, I think they get it done. I think Dalvin Cook just looks too good in the backfield. Cousins making plays, not turning the ball over. And I just think there's too much firepower here, Minnesota.
Okay. Jeff, how do you see it, Jeff?
I think it's going to be the Vikings, Tom. I don't think that the Redskins are ready to compete with a team like that, and the Vikings have been flying under the radar a little quietly.
Yeah.
Let's see if they continue to play strong, and then what happens once they get in the playoffs, if they make the playoffs. This may be this year's Cinderella team. Who knows? Although it will be hard to anoint a team that's 6-1 right now as a Cinderella team, but listen, a team that's kind of flew under the radar and nobody's really took notice to what they're doing. I guess that to me, that's what you got to kind of label them as right now.
I would agree. Guys, the first who cares game of the week for me. This is, if anybody watches this game other than Trevor Lawrence's mom and Derek Carr's family, I will be surprised. But the 2-6 Jaguars are playing the 2-5 Raiders in Jacksonville. I think both teams lose. Nobody wins if they even show up. But I'll take the Jaguars to win this game and put another nail in the coffin of Derek Carr. Jeff, how do you see this one?
You're talking about teams 4-11 combined record, man. Look out. Who the fuck wants to see this mess? Oh, my God. They're already talking about Trevor Lawrence having to get his stuff together. Mm-hmm. And if he doesn't, I believe it was you, Tom, that brought it up, that you thought he was overrated and didn't expect much from him.
Nope.
I got to admit, when does he start to play? When is he going to live up to the number 1 pick? Because it's just not happening. This is one, I don't know. I mean, I'm going to pick the Jaguars because I'm going to think that he's going to start getting on track sooner or later. But who knows? Who cares is the best way to ask that one.
Hey, John, there's a rumor that CBS may be playing the Madden version of this game on TV instead of the actual game because they think that might be more exciting for the fans. But in the meantime, if somebody was dumb enough to bet this game, which way should they go?
I would bet on the Madden game, Tommy. I mean, I think I'd rather watch that. And when I look at Trevor Lawrence, I mean, this guy looks like a Russian ballerina. I just, with the hair and
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, I see some good things out of Jacksonville. I mean, it just seems like these guys, as soon as they get there, like they're ready to put a team away, there's a bad turnover. Like the pick that Lawrence threw last week in the end zone against the Broncos was pathetic. I just can't see Vegas going in there and beating Jacksonville. I think Jacksonville just has a little more cohesion right now. There's a mess in Vegas with McDaniels. I mean, I don't have anything positive to say about those guys except for Josh Jacobs.
Now we'll be talking about the hot seat at the end of the year with a few coaches, and he'll be one of them. Hey Jeff, in a surprisingly twisted NFC West, the first place Seahawks take on the last place Cardinals. Another coach and quarterback who will probably a little bit on the hot seat, although I know the quarterback's going to be there. The 5-3 Seahawks take on the 3-5 Cardinals. I'm going to take Seattle in this. I know it's in Arizona. I have no faith in Cliff Kingsbury to right the ship over there, and I think most of his teammates hate Kyler Murray. I'm taking Geno Smith.
It's another one of those hard picks, Tom. But a division game, you could almost take it and find a reason to go either way with this one. I'm going to go with the hot hand, which is Geno Smith myself. I'm a little shocked. I'm a little annoyed that Geno Smith is playing this good. If he had done this a few years ago, maybe he'd be a multi-millionaire instead of whatever he is right now with the endorsements and everything else and dental floss for his jaw. You don't know, but
and a couple of GMs may still have their job, Jeff, along the way from the Jets.
A lot of people may still have their jobs.
That's true, John.
But yeah, you're right. But I'm going with Geno Smith and the Seahawks.
Yeah, John, Arizona at home, -2 to the Seahawks, first place Seahawks. You see an upset here, John?
No, I see Seattle going in and winning this game. I think Pete Carroll's done a lot of really good coaching jobs in his NFL career, but I think this has been his best one, keeping this team together.
Yeah.
You got a young running back too that's stepping in. I mean, so they're able to run the ball. Solid. Got a great receiving core. Geno Smith's playing solid. I think this is going to be the high scoring game of the week, though, guys. But I'm going to take Seattle.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. All right. So Deshaun's okay, guys. The next and surprisingly second, who cares game of the week? the 3-5 Tom Brady led Buccaneers at home versus the 3-4 should have retired and took the Fox deal. Sean McVay and the Rams. Again, I could care less about this game. There isn't an appealing piece to this game. So the only is to watch Tom Brady play. Guys, I'm going to take Tampa at home. I think Brady's due for a big game. I think the Bucs are due to break out. If they don't now, I think a loss here, and it pretty much ends their season. So, John, I'm taking Tampa in this one, but I got to tell you, I'd rather watch the Madden version.
Yeah, I'm going to take Tampa in this too, Tommy. But, boy, this is an ugly game. I mean, I've watched Tampa the last couple of weeks, and they are so out of sync. It's unbelievable. I mean, Mike Evans dropping that touchdown against the Panthers and then losing that game. Brady's he just looks totally lost back there, like I've never seen him before. I think it's going to be an ugly one, but I'm going to take Tampa too in dare I say it, a field goal contest.
No doubt, Jeff. They say that Cam Akers may play after being sitting on the bench for who knows what reasons for the Rams. But and what's your thoughts on Tampa at home and to the Rams?
I hope that the Rams win. I would like to see Aaron Donald get like about 17 sacks on Sunday. I hope that they zoom in on Brady's face and he realizes that he's no longer with Giselle and he's just sitting there crying. I hope he gets CTE. I hope he gets arthritis of the body. Everything. I can't, I want him to get knocked out of the playoffs slowly too. I don't want them to just be out of the playoffs by the end of November. I want them to still be in it as far into the season as possible, but always on the cusp of being out. That's where, that's what I want. I just want them to know misery. That's all I want them to know.
I think
I
he's knowing.
agree.
I think he knows it now, guys. Last two games.
One last thing.
Gotcha.
I hope Giselle starts making interracial gangbang movies. That's what I hope is next.
Oh
And
boy!
everybody in the movie's name is Tom.
We just hit the rock bottom. Boys.
Maybe LA signs Antonio Brown before the beginning of his game.
I just hate him so much. I don't
too.
care if he went and played football on the other side of the globe. I'd still root against him. I just hate him. I hate him.
Guys, the Sunday night game, the Chiefs. Let's see. Hold on a second. The 5-2 Kansas City Chiefs taking on the 5-2 Tennessee Titans, who kind of woken up a little bit here. I know that Tannehill's a little hurt, but I think he is going to play. I'm sure he'll get some Derrick Henry in that. Should be an interesting game. This should be a fun game to watch if you're a football fan. Kind of two teams on the different ends of the spectrum. 12.5 points is a lot. I know the Titans are a little offensively challenged. I think the Chiefs win, but I think the Titans cover. If that makes any sense to anybody. So if I was betting the game, I'm taking the Titans to cover, but the Chiefs to win this one outright. Jeff, give me your thoughts on Chiefs home to the Titans.
I hope that the Chiefs win it because I'm starting to think that they're not the team that we thought they were. They're 5-2 without Tyreek Hill.
Mm-hmm.
They have a couple other receivers that haven't really stepped up.
Nope.
But they're still getting it done. But I think they rely too much on Travis Kelce, and he's getting older. And if I was the Chiefs, I would be more interested in what you're going to do to replace Travis Kelce than because you're already showing that you could play without Tyreek Hill. But overall, you're playing Derrick Henry and the Titans. I don't know. They seem to be a hot team. Weren't they like 0-2 or 1-2 at one time, the Titans?
Well, they are now. Yeah, they were 0-2 because they're on a 5-game winning streak right now.
Okay. So, it's a dangerous team to be playing against. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know if the Chiefs are built to beat them.
Good point.
I'm going to go Titans.
I'm with you on that one. Hey, John, and Jeff brought up Tyreek Hill. I think they're going to try to replace him with Giant cast-off Kadarius Toney, who is supposed to be healthy for the first time in 2 years and will be playing this week for the Chiefs. But how do you see the game?
If I was Kansas City, I would have all 11 guys in the box to stop Derrick Henry. I mean, that's what that offense goes through. Make Tannehill beat you. And Tannehill's banged up. I'll tell you what, guys, if this game was in Tennessee, I would lean toward Tennessee, but it's in KC. I think there's too much firepower with Mahomes in that offense. I think, just it's still too many weapons, even with Hill gone. I think Kelce still has a big game like he always does. But I see guys like, Juju, Smith-Schuster having a good game. And another guy is Pacheco.
Mm-hmm.
They got a rookie running back with a ton of speed. He's got a lot of good things happen, and if they use him right and get him incorporated in that offense, I could see him having a decent game as well. So I'm going to go with KC.
John, I got to ask you something because you brought up Pacheco. This is a guy that me and Tommy have talked about on the side for our side business, so to speak. How come you bring up a lot of good points about him, but he just doesn't seem to produce in the fantasy world? He's not. I watched him play. He's a good player, but he's just not doing it in the fantasy world, which means to me he's not really getting great stats. What are your thoughts about him? You think they're underutilizing him, or he hasn't come into his own yet? What is your thoughts?
I think it's underutilization, Jeff. I think with all the guys that they have, on that team. I mean, you look at, like you said, Kelce and Juju. And you also have Edwards-Helaire that they continue to throw in. I think they need to use him a little bit more. I mean, get him incorporated in the passing game a little bit more. He actually started. I don't know if it was last week or the week before, but I didn't see the production. But sometimes that's game flow of how you're going to use him. I think eventually, Andy Reid says a lot of good things about him. coaching staff says a lot of good things about him. I think by the end of the season, you're going to see this guy incorporated a little bit more, and I think he's going to do some good things. So watch for him.
Well,
I think it's
time will tell.
Time will certainly tell. Last game on the slate this week, guys. The Monday night game. The Ravens 2.5-point favorites on the road to the Saints. Saints just, I believe, starting Andy Dalton again. I have no faith in that team. People talking crap about Michael Thomas, but Alvin Kamara's having some great games and a good season. I have a hard time believing the Ravens won't win that game. I'm rooting against them, but I'm going to take the Ravens on the road to win this one, Jeff.
Yeah, I got to go with the Ravens on this one. I think that the Saints are just trying to stay competitive at this point in time. I think as Michael Thomas is one of their receivers.
Yep.
I think he was just ruled out for the season. They just seem to have started slow. They got Dalton playing. I don't think you're going to see Jameis Winston come back on for that team.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think that there's going to be changes next year. I think this is going to be a completely different Saints team than we're used to. I think they start the rebuild next year.
I totally agree. John, where do you see the game?
I see the Ravens going in and winning this one, Tommy. I mean, as much as I can't stand the Ravens, I think it's just a better team all the way around. I think there's some good points with with the Saints. Chris Olave obviously is a good upcoming receiver, and Alvin Kamara, I mean, is always a game changer. But this situation with Andy Dalton, the Ravens are already familiar with this guy.
Yep.
He is what he is. You have a lot of guys injured. The thing with Michael Thomas, I mean, Michael Thomas has been, a superstar. It's been a disappointment for the last 2 years. The guy can't stay healthy. I can't see Baltimore going up and losing this game. I think they just have too much.
Well, I think we're all in agreement, and we're going to put this one in the books. I am 10:29. I need to put this one to bed quick and move on to my day. I got to get back home for some dinner plans tonight with my good friend Jeff and his wife. So I got to do some running around today, and my wife is probably on the other side of the door, stomping her feet, waiting for me. So I will start the thank yous and the goodbyes and say thank you to everybody who tuned in and listened today and participated in the show offline here or online with us. Thank you to our dear sponsors, the boys over at Hemp Wizard Beard Care Co., the proud sponsors of Jeff's Beard. That's right, they've officially sponsored Jeff's Beard. They will be entering him in contests along the way. Here, yep, there's the goat. The goat is making its. I don't know why the goat showing up, but the goat showed up. And thank you to my partners here, Mr. John Marhefker and Jeff Talwinski, for a great Saturday show. And I'll give you guys the final say. John, you got anything you want to add before we close the day out?
I just want to thank everybody for listening in, and thank you guys to inviting me to this, man, because I love talking football with both of you. You're really good friends, and there's no better way for me to start out a weekend than talking with you guys.
Absolutely. Hefe?
A lot of fun, man. A lot of fun. And don't forget, man, as long as you're having fun, look good while you're doing it.
There you go. Soon to be the Sunday Audible version. Called the Audible. It'll be out hopefully before the holidays.
Somebody wants to say something?
The GOAT makes its appearance. But if you want to watch the GOAT, check out the game on Sunday. Anyway, so guys, the holiday season is here, and make sure you tune in every week with us. We'll celebrate a little bit more. We'll play some clips along the way, and we'll, of course, have our unique brand of NFL talk and analysis right here in the Sunday Audible Show. So, guys, for John Marhefker, Jeff Towinski, Snoopy, and all of us here at the Sunday Audible Show, have a great night, a great rest of your weekend. Enjoy your football. Great game today. You got Tennessee, Georgia. Make sure you watch. That's going to be a good one. But again, watch your full slate of games tomorrow, and we'll see you back here next Sunday on the Sunday Audible Show. Good night. Good day, everybody. And guys, I'm running. I'll talk to you guys later.
See you later, man.
See you guys.
Have a good day, guys.
Be good, man.